Then I'm going to explain the appendicular skeleton. First, we're going to start with the pectoral girdle, which forms the shoulder. It consists of the clavicle and the scapula. In turn, it forms the scapula's glenoid cavity, which is the shoulder joint. The shoulder is connected to the axial skeleton by muscles that attach to the scapula and the thorax and the vertebrae columns. Next is the pelvic girdle, which consists of the hip bones and the sacrum. In the pectoral girdle is the clavicle, which articulates with the scapula, and the sternal end attaches to the sternum. To explain the scapula, you have the coracoid process, the acromion, the glenoid cavity, the subscapular fossa, the spine, the supraspinatus fossa, which you can see on the inside here, the intraspinatus fossa, the sternoclavicle joint, and the acromioclavicle joint, which is this right here. You can see it. Next, we're going to explain the arm, which is a part of the appendicular skeleton. So the arm, you have the humerus. You have the head of the humerus. The greater tubercle. The lesser tubercle, the deltoid tuberosity, the medial epicondyle, the lateral epicondyle, then you have the coronoid fossa, which allows the ulna to move freely. Then the capitulum, which is this part, which articulates with the radius. Then you have the trochlea, which connects to the forearm and articulates with the ulna. So it's this part right here. And then the ocrine fossa, which is over here. It's the ulna sits here to allow movement. Next, we're going to discuss the forearm. You have the ulna. Well, let's point at it right. The ulna. And the ocrine, which is this. Let's turn it over. This. And the coronoid process is this. Next, we're going to explain the radius, which is this bone. That bone in the arm connects to, the thumb side. Then you have the head of the radius. And the radial tuberosity, which is this. You can see it. This part right here. This little part sticking out. And then you have the styloid process, which is this part right here is the styloid process. Next, we're going to explain the carpus. So as you can see, the carpus, I did number them to make it easier for you to see. So number 1 is the scaphoid. Number 2 is the lunate. Number 3 is the I have a problem with this word. Triquetral. Number 4 is the pisiform. And then in the distal roll, you have number 5 was the trapezium. And then you have number 6 was the trapezoid. Number 7 is the capitate. And number 8 is the hamate. And the pisiform makes the wrist joint. And the scaphoid bone forms a joint with the pollex. And the metacarpals, let's get a good picture of these. So these are the metacarpals. And then you have the phalanges. Next, we're going to discuss the pelvic girdle. Next, we have the coxal bones, just here in the hip. Let me turn this over so you can kind of see the borders that kind of form the hip. So here's one border. It kind of goes through here and through here. These are the borders of the 3 bones that fuse during development of the skeleton to form the coxal bones. And then you have your acetabulum, which is the joint here that kind of lets the femur sit. Then you have your pubic symphysis, which is right here, right there. And then you have your obturator forum, just literally that tall. Then you have your iliac crest. And then you have your anterior superior iliac spine. Then you have your iliac fossa, your greater sciatic notch, you can see the notch. And then you have your ischial spine. And your ischial tuberosity, that part. Next, we're going to discuss the femur. The femur, you have the head of the femur. That's the neck of the femur. Then you have the head of the femur. And then you have the lesser trochanter. And then you have the abductor tubersole. Just this part. Your iliac fossa, no, sorry, wrong line. Then you have your medial epicondyle, which is the lower part here, underneath. Then you have your lateral epicondyle. And then you have your medial and lateral condyle, which is the back side. You can see it better. So you have your medial and your lateral. And then you have, oh, you can see that. Medial and lateral. Medial, lateral. And then you have your patella. Next is the tibia. So you have the tibia, the fibula. The tibia, the medial and lateral condyles are right here. Medial, lateral. Then you have your tibial tuberosity, which is this part right here. Then you have your medial malleus. I can't pronounce it, unfortunately. I've tried. which is this part right here. Then you have your superior and inferior tibiofibular joint, which is superior, inferior. Then you have your fibula, which is this part. You have the head and the lateral malleosus bottom, which is right here on the outside here. And then let's go to the ankle, which is the talus here. Oh, this one doesn't bend down. We'll go to this one. The talus is here, which articulates with the tibia and the fibula. And then you have the calcaneus, which is the heel. And these are numbered, as you can see, to kind of explain the bones. You have number 1 is the cuboid, number 2 is the navicular, number 3 is the medial, number 4 is the intermediate, and number 5 is the lateral cuneiform bones. Then you have your metatarsus, which are these, and then your metatarsus, phalanges, and then your hallux is your big toe here, and that is your appendicular skeleton. Thank you.